So, so RuneScape 3 is getting ready to release its first leagues, and I want to go ahead and give my thoughts and opinions about it since we have gotten a lot of information in the recent days. So overall, I think it is a good idea for them to no longer do region lock-in like in old school RuneScape. I think the difference between RuneScape 3 and old school RuneScape is the fact that old school RuneScape is a lot more explored in the sense that different paths that a player can go on when making their account is well documented. Whereas in RuneScape 3, that is not necessarily the case, and it is the one path. Everything devolves into that same one path. And we start seeing this with how people view the relics. Right? So here we have the tier 1 relics, and almost everyone unanimously agrees that Excavator is the best relic. That is because of the expectation that this is like Iron Man, right? They're using their knowledge of Iron Man game mode in RuneScape 3, and they're not considering other factors like how do I want to play the game, what do I want to focus on, and will this relic synergize well with other relics? And I think that's where a lot of issues start coming in because you have to remember we are starting with a plus 4 times experience rate, and presumably that's going to go up to 14 times. So how does that change the gameplay loop and what you would and wouldn't prioritize? And because of that, at least for me, I think the Divine Woodcutter is the way to go. The way I see it is that I'm looking at different skills that will benefit from these relics rather than looking at one skill, because you're eventually going to get 99 archaeology eventually and 120 and presumably 200 mil if you get that far. So I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the excavator relic, and I'm seeing that okay, I'm gonna do archaeology regardless. It's gonna be at a faster pace, and I'm gonna not need as many resources overall in general, because it is a faster game mode, and there are other perks that help you with this, and that's why I default to the divine woodcutter, because it not only helps you with woodcutting, fire making, divination, but divination also helps you with hunter to an extent, right? With the chronicles you get hunter experience. From that woodcutting, you can also get fletching. That makes fletching a lot easier as well. And then on top of that, you also get the divine locations that you can use as well. So that's like 6 different skills that divine woodcutter attracts versus the 5. At least for me, this is how I see it. I might change my mind later on, but overall, I think the divine woodcutter is probably the best in general for your general gameplay, presumably that because we don't have full information and context regarding the game and what other relics that are available. But I will go through a few of them so far. So this is what we have gotten so far, right? So on the news post, Jagex did reveal this screenshot right here that you can see, and as you can see, these are all the relics blurred out. And what we can see so far is that the tier 2 relics have already been revealed, and they are pretty straightforward. We have the pickpocketing one, the utility one, and the farming one. And overall, I think they're pretty good tier 2 relics. But these 3 relics down here, I'm not sure where they go. I think the Banker's Note, which just got released, is a tier 3 relic. And the reason I think it's a tier 3 relic is if you go back to this image, they are very blue. The tier 3 relics that are being blurred out here have that blue-green hue to it, which lines up with the Banker's Note. And then eventually, you have the Invention, and then you have the Invention, and if I can get this right, there it is, and the Crafting one. And these ones, I think the Invention perk is a tier 4 relic, which narratively does work well, because it's Invention and it's an elite skill and requires a lot more to get, which that's where I think it will be placed. And the Crafting one, which if I remember correctly, which is Production Master, is going to be either tier 4 or tier 5. If I had to guess, it would probably be tier 4 based off of the information we have gotten so far, right? So the tier 2 relics are pretty straightforward. I think the best tier 2 I'm not sure what the best tier 2 relic is, because I remember in old school RuneScape there was a relic when they did the leagues that let you use gold on a prayer altar to get prayer XP. So if that is going to be in the game and that is a tier 3 relic, then that might sway people to get the pickpocketing relic because you get gold. Or is it the agility relic? I think it's the agility relic that gives you. Do I not have it? Okay, so I don't have it on up here. Actually, there it is. The golden footed, which gives you 1k gold per lap completed times your agility level, which that could be useful if that relic, what I'm talking about, that was in old school, probably if it comes over. But then you also have to consider what other relics will there be, right? Because at this point, we have the tier 1, tier 2, we have parts of tier 3 being already coming through with Banker's Note that just got announced. Where are the combat relics? Where do they fit in, right? Because we haven't gotten a combat relic yet, which is weird. I was expecting tier 3 to have combat relics only, but it looks like we've only got Banker's Note, which might just give us more utility, and we might not get that many combat relics, which is a shame because I want more experiment with combat, and I don't see Jaggers doing that. What else is there? So let's just go over the Banker's Note. So Banker's Note, this is a new relic that has been received. It is an automatic bank wherever you go, and that is pretty cool. That works pretty well, but I'm thinking about this from perspective that you already have TPs in the game that teleports you directly to the bank, or very close or near to a bank. And I'm thinking, is it like how useful can you make this in RuneScape 3? Because I don't see that many. I don't see how well it translates versus old school RuneScape where banks are pretty far apart. Yes, this will definitely help with automatically banking certain items so you can carry on grinding resources. So this might remove the need for porters, which again, divination has you covered with that. The farming relic was the last relic that was revealed. Again, this is another relic where I'm trying to think about the context of the game, and especially since the nerfs of the not the combat rework, the rebalance towards item loots that's been going on for a few years now. It's not only the recent Elder God Wars nerfs; it's actually been going on for a while, and it's been building up. And I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, is this like how common are seeds in RuneScape? That's the question I want to ask. How common are seeds, and will you be needing them, right? Because what I'm thinking is that what are the potions that players really need, and that's an overload. You can farm overloads at Araxor, pretty straightforward, especially with the accelerated experience rate, presumably combat relics coming forward. You can do all these things, so it might not be needed because when people look at this relic, they are thinking in the back of their heads overloads. And considering you can get overloads out the way in a accelerated game mode with increased drop rates, I don't think it might be as impactful as players might initially think. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I don't think so because when I'm looking at all these relics, they are very straightforward relics. Nothing that stands out. It seems like they've borrowed a lot from old school RuneScape, which for your first run of the League's game mode is a good idea. But I want to see more unique diversity that fits in RuneScape 3 niche. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the tier 3 relics, which presumably we will be getting in the coming days. We have almost all of them complete. We know where most of the relics are with this little graphic I made. And yeah, that's it.